Hello everyone, and let's talk about an ebook. This one is a young adult romance, and it is titled The No Girlfriend Rule by Christen Randall, and this is this author's debut book, I believe. This is kind of based around the world of D&D, so Dungeons and Dragons, except it is called something else that's like, it's called S&S, which stands for Secrets and Sorcery. Now, I know pretty much almost nothing about D&D, but from what I do know, this is definitely based on, S&S is based off of D&D. So what is this about? So we're following Holly. This has plus size representation. Holly is the main female character, or Hollis, I should say, is her name. Oh, and before I get into that, this does have an audiobook available. It is narrated by Natalie Naudus and is 9 hours and 51 minutes on standard one-time speed. This was published in 2024. It is a standalone and is told in third person. So Hollis, she is a senior in high school. She has a boyfriend. He is actually kind of a jerk. His friends are jerks. There's one especially that's a jerk. Anyway, she wants to bond a little bit more with her boyfriend, and he is part of this S&S group with his boy pals. She wanted to try and join, learn how to play. They came up with this no girlfriends allowed type of a rule. So she does want to learn how to play, so she ends up going to this group where she doesn't know anybody and doesn't want to go back. Someone hits on her and she just feels uncomfortable. So she leaves the game early. She does notice a flyer about how there is a group to play S&S for girls only. And so she takes the little tab of who to contact, and then she reaches out and they're like, they said the closing date to try to contact them to join the S&S group was a certain day. Hollis is nervous because she's about 24 or 48 hours later, but they're like, no big deal. So she ends up joining this all-female S&S group, and they become really good friends. You have, as she is learning more about herself with this group of girls, she is starting to figure out that the relationship with her boyfriend is not the greatest, and starts to realize certain things about herself. Her confidence grows in some areas, and things like that. So it's just your standard young adult romance, things like that. Now, what makes this one different is all of the representation in this one. You have LGBT rep. You have a character in this girl group who is transgender. You have someone who is lesbian. You have someone who is pansexual, so you have a bit of LGBT rep. You also have plus size. As I said, Hollis is plus size in this. And then you have racial diversity as far as you have someone who's Colombian, someone who's Asian, and someone who's Black. You also have mental disability or mental health representation because you have someone who has ADHD and someone has major depression, and you also have Hollis who has anxiety and takes medication. There is one point where she does end up having a panic attack on Paige, so you are seeing that. So yeah, she grows feelings start to bloom between Hollis's character in S&S and another character in this group that she plays with. But then she starts to question, are the feelings that she's feeling real and are just being portrayed by this, or is someone just acting? And so she's trying to figure out what's real, what's not. She's wanting to question things. Is she attracted to this other girl? Is she's confused about her feelings, and so she's exploring her sexual identity as far as trying to figure out if she is attracted to this other girl, or how loyal does she need to be to her boyfriend because she has a boyfriend. Like, not loyal as in like cheat on him, but because she has a boyfriend, or should she call it off and go and be with this girl? So there's a lot of questions about that. Again, this takes place in high school over 2 states. This takes place in Kentucky, As far as Hollis, she lives in Kentucky and goes to school in Kentucky, but the SNS game is across the border in Ohio. So she's right on the edge of Kentucky, and then her group meets in Ohio at someone's house, and they play the SNS game. So yeah, so it's a great found friendship, found family type of a situation, finding out a little bit more about your identity and gaining in confidence in your standard romance. So that is what this book is about. It was really cool, and I loved the friendship. Was so cute between them, between the girls. And at the table you have one that's like, I don't know if she was 18 or just barely out of high school, like by a year or two, but her younger sister is like 12 or 13. Everyone else is about the same age, and like they're 17 or 18-year-olds. So yeah, you have some in the book. You have some moments where they're communicating via Discord, and so you're seeing that Discord communication as well. And I think the author did a good job with conveying the personalities of the Discord group with how people talk on Discord with how they are in their actual real life in the book. So anyway, okay, so what are your content or trigger warnings? You have sexism in this, blatant with one of the boyfriend's friends. It was like eye roll inducing. It was very annoying, type of a thing. You have homophobia in this. You have divorce talked about, as well as fat phobia. And like I said, you are seeing a panic attack depicted on the screen. Not on the screen, in the book. So yeah, on screen because I read it via ebook, but yeah, so on page. One of the things that is said to give you an idea about the homophobia is like, someone wouldn't want to be them. Why are you friends with this person? That person is weird, referring to the person that is transgender, so transphobia, homophobia. And the phrase "that's gay" comes up a lot, or a fair amount, so just something to be aware of. So yeah, now in case you are still on the fence, oh, and like I said, as far as rep, Hollis is plus size, so you do have that rep. And there's some concern, like internal hatred or discussion about how she feels about being fat with all these other people, and not wanting to eat too much around everyone and things like that. So you do have talk about that. Okay, so now in case you are still on the fence with this book, let's talk about the word usage. You have the word God coming up 30 times, not in a religious sense. You have bitch coming up 12 times, douchebag once. You have a word that is used as a slur for someone who is a lesbian one time, and it starts with B, like bravo. So that's all I'm going to say for that. Ass comes up 5. The word God 3 times, except it was a lowercase g, so like gods and goddesses, like mythical gods and goddesses. Speaking of which, goddesses comes up twice. The word tool comes up twice. Damn, 13. Oh, and the other rep that I forgot is you have dyslexia in this as well. Dyslexia is talked about. Moving on, we have hell 8 times. Shit, 18. What's his nuts? 1 time. That's fun to say. The word bastard once. Bullshit twice. The word dickhole 3 times. The word Lord once. Badass 13. The word Christ once, not in a religious sense. Boobs once. Jesus once, not in a religious sense. And fuck once. So those are the word usage. As far as the depression that I said earlier, it's not as prevalent as the anxiety, but there is depression prevalent or in this book, and it's to the point that someone talks about having to isolate themselves so that the depression gets bad enough that they don't want to be around anyone at all. So that's the representation. Those are the content and trigger warnings and the word counts. Let me know, have you read The No Girlfriend Rule by Christen Randall? I enjoyed it. I thought that was good. I actually want my own physical copy at some point. So There were some things that I wanted to underline, but I can't go back and refer to them. So anyway, so if you're looking for a sweet young adult LGBT romance, this would be a good book to check out. So yeah, it was very sweet. Actually made me cry a little bit. So at the end, it was very sweet, very heart-inducing. And oh man, when they get into their roles with the SNS, or Dungeons and Dragons in the real world, in their SNS, you're getting images and talk of what the characters are going through in the SNS game, but then you're going back to their real life and you're in the perspective of the actual people that are playing the characters. So it goes from the people in real life in the book versus the characters in the SNS game. So you're kind of bouncing between those two different POVs. So yeah, let me know, what are your thoughts? Are you interested in picking this up? Or with what I have said, is this one that you are going to pass on? Let me know. Talk to me in the comment section below. And until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book. And I will talk to you later.